think I might know why your MIDI drums sound fake. Hey, how's it going? My name is Chris Badan, if you don't know me. I make tutorial videos just about songwriting and music production and things of that sort. But today I wanted to talk about why your drums may sound fake or just unrealistic compared to other people out there. What I came to find out was that MIDI velocities are the most important thing if you're wanting to get the most realistic sounding drums. So this here is a session that I put together. This is a song by my band, Retina. We should be putting these songs out. We just got the masters back, so this will be out very soon. But here is the intro. It's mainly drums and some synth, but check it out. So what you notice is it sounds pretty realistic, and that was definitely some work on the back end. Now, the way that I wrote these drums were via keyboard drums, and I went in and added, ghost notes and accents here and there. One thing that I did do, though, was with these hi-hats. You can see here that the velocities are very up and down. Let me give you guys an example of what it would sound like if all these velocities were slammed. You can see everything is on 100. Let's play this real quick just so you can hear what it sounds like. Now it sounds great because I'm using GetGood Drums Modern and Massive. This is the newest pack, or drum pack, from Nolly and Misha and Matt from Periphery. The drum samples sound amazing. But one thing is with these drums in particular and them being slammed is, like, for example, you have these ghost notes here and they're slammed. And so it just sounds like some doubles. Instead of it, being down a little bit, bringing these in, just so you can get those little ghost notes in there to add those accents. So what I did in the beginning ones was I accented those, and I think one of the biggest things is these hi-hats here. So if you pay attention to the hi-hats in this one, they're slammed. Compared to this one here, just gives it a little bit more of a realistic feel, like the drummer is really grooving, rather than just, and that could be what you're going for, and it didn't sound bad, just because there's a lot of samples in there. But in this case, I kind of wanted to get it a little bit more groove, so I adjusted these velocities here. Now, this was definitely experimentation. Some of these I didn't even really touch when I was doing it on the keyboard drums. But for example, you'll see these kicks here. You can see that the doubles, compared to this hit here, you could just see it kind of going up, ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. And that's how a drummer usually would hit the kick right there if they're doing a double. The first kick isn't going to be as heavy as the second one, which, you want to pay attention to details like that, because as you progress, and you may be already there, you'll start to realize, those doubles sound really robotic. And that's why. Just because you got 2 slammed hits here. As opposed to... Sounds great. So one cool thing about GetGood Drums is that they have a velocity curve for each instrument, which is so helpful. It's insanely helpful. They had it in the last one, but you can only choose from so many, and you couldn't do it on each instrument. But what's so great, and I thank you guys so much, you are able to globally change your velocity curves, or you can come in and adjust them individually. And the cool thing about that is basically based on this velocity curve here, your hits are going to either, let me see if I can show you. If we bump this up, let's bring this all the way down here. So based on the velocity that it's at, the velocity curve that it's at, your velocities will only hit at a certain point based on where this curve is. So for example, this one, you're going to be slammed most of the time. This one here, you're going to have to hit a lot harder in order to actually get a good hit, but I think I keep mine about here because it gets it's a good middle ground for when you do ghost notes and when you get those hard hits. So that velocity curve is super helpful. Another thing is the ghost notes, adding ghost notes in there. I realized that adding ghost notes into your drum programming is huge. It really adds that like icing on the cake when it comes to making them sound realistic. The thing with it though is you can definitely get carried away with adding ghost notes, and I have in the past, and I actually had to bring some back in this EP. I was like, can I go back and adjust those? And so I had to kind of remove some parts. Just, it's easy to get carried away. But what I was talking about in my keyboard drum video was kind of the 4 limbs thing. You have to try and program drums so a drummer can physically play them. Because again, you can get easily carried away with creating these drum parts, and a drummer hears them and it's just like, bro, I can't play that. That's impossible, you know? But again, there's a time and place. If that's what you're going for and you just want to make this just because it's fun, go to town, you know? I've done that too, and it's really fun. But in this case, my drummer has to play these, so, you know, I have to try and program these to cater to him. The other cool thing is by me programming these drums, I can push him to be better, you know, and I can do things that he wouldn't normally do, which is cool. I have a tom part here that I'd want to show you. So you have flam hits. That's another thing. Flams are really important, especially, you know, when you're programming drums and you play it on the keyboard, and you record quantize, which basically means that, you know, when you record your part, it's going to automatically quantize when you're done playing. As soon as you hit the space bar, it's going to quantize it to whatever grid you're on. Like I'm on 30 seconds. I usually do it to 16ths, but what happens is you'll have your flams doing that. If you planned on doing flams, then you would have that, and it just doesn't sound, well, listen. So this hit here, so you have them, they're playing at the exact same time, so it just sounds like you're doing one snare, or this guy is really perfect and hitting it at the same time. So what I usually do, In Studio One, if you hold Shift, if you click and then hold Shift, you're able to kind of go anywhere on the grid. And I'll experiment with this, and I'll usually put it roughly there. I'll do it on this one as well. You got to click it first and then hold Shift. But anyways. See, I already did it on the toms, but that's another super important thing about programming your drums is those flams. And what I would recommend doing is, even if you're not a drummer, I would say look up drummers and just watch their techniques, like Troy Wright. He's so fun to watch. Check out their techniques and just see the things that they do and try to mimic that, maybe even try and program, one of the drum covers that he did, or one of your favorite drummers, try and program a little verse or something like that and match the velocities as best as you can. And you'll start to get into the practice of, like, it'll be second nature to you, like when you see a double, oh, let me just, adjust that accordingly. And the same thing with ghost notes. You'll be able to adjust accordingly, just second nature. But in the beginning stages, you're going to have to stay conscious about that. Just knowing that that may be why your drums are sounding fake, you know what I mean? So one last thing that I wanted to show you was I was inspired by a subscriber. Speaking of, I got a lot of new subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for subscribing to my channel. One of my subscribers gave me the idea to make some drum parts, some MIDI drum parts that I can give in a pack. So if you guys are struggling and have, don't have any ideas for drum parts, or if you're struggling with, song ideas, or you just wanted to add to your collection of MIDI grooves, I made my own groove pack. It consists of pretty much everything that you would need to create a song, or at least get you started. I have a few verse parts, some chorus parts. I even have a few fill parts here. I was experimenting myself with what I can do, because I actually just kind of wrote these and challenged myself to write some parts here and there. I was going to write a whole song, but I didn't want to hinder that from me making this video, or this video coming out. So I made a few parts. And if you want, I can play them for you. I can play this one. You might be able to see this, me playing this on my Instagram, and if you're not following me on Instagram, you should. Someone said that sounded like the MacGyver intro. And I was blown away, because that intro is super sick, and I've never heard it before. So I don't remember who said that, but thank you. I did a verse part, and it's pretty cool. I'll show you that real quick. So in this case, I have the snares slammed for the most part. I think I was experimenting with slammed as opposed to not slammed, but slammed meaning the velocities are at 100%. I was watching a video, and Nolly was explaining why that might not be the best idea. But in this case, I realized that if it's not slammed, these snare hits, then they're a little weak. But experiment with that, when you get this pack. I will put a link down below so you guys can get that. I tried to make it as cheap as possible, but man, any sort of donations or anything that you guys want to contribute to helping these videos keep going, it's awesome. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you today. I usually have longer videos, but this one, I realized that this was one of the biggest things that I struggled with, and I wanted to put this video out to hopefully help you, or if anyone to just overcome this barrier, because I know how it feels, and you're just like, man, why can't I get my drums to sound like so and so or as good as so and so, blah blah blah, you know. But I think this will definitely step up your production quality. But other than that, if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions for video ideas, I would be open to any of that. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, any social media platform. I'd love to talk to you. But thank you for watching my video, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.